everyone. Welcome back to Susan Dawn's Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. Before we get into the reading, I want to bring up and discuss a really great question that one of my coaching clients brought to me. She said, I don't know if I even want my counterpart to be my partner anymore. Maybe I'm meant for someone else. And that is a really great question that I think every one of us goes through on this journey. I went through that for 2 years, especially the past 2 years, where when I was in separation with my counterpart, that separation brought a lot of questions. And I had to ask myself, maybe this isn't even meant to be. Maybe this is someone else that I'm meant to be with. When you're in this energy of growing and shifting the way that you view yourself, shifting the way that you view your connection, even shifting how you view your journey, you might look back at past versions of yourself or even past versions of your counterpart, and there might be this kind of repellent energy. There might be this detached energy where you don't feel as connected to your counterpart or you don't feel as attracted to your counterpart. And all of that is totally okay. All of that is totally normal. You get to choose what it is that you want for your journey, for your life path. Your partner, your twin flame, sacred partner, whatever it is that you want to call it, can still be that catalyst, can still be that partner for you, but you can have a different life partner. You get to choose what it is that you want. And I know that's going to trigger some who are really attached to a certain blueprint of what the twin flame energy or what the twin flame journey is supposed to be. But what we teach here is that twin flame is an energy, and that energy can actually move through multiple people. Twin flame is you, and you're experiencing that in another person. And the reason why you might feel detached, the reason why you might feel even repellent with regards to your person's behaviors, in regards to your person's energy, is because you have raised your frequency. You have raised your vibration. You have even raised your standards as far as how you're treating yourself. And so you're no longer going to accept or allow that treatment from another person, even especially your divine counterpart or sacred partner. So if you are feeling that repellent energy, if you are feeling that detachment, if you aren't feeling attracted to your sacred partner at this moment, it doesn't mean that it's going to be forever. It could be if that's what you so choose. It doesn't mean it's going to be forever. It just means that you're acknowledging where you had in the past been abandoning yourself, where you had been avoiding yourself, avoiding your own healing, avoiding your own shadows, for that love to come out, for you to say, hey, I honor myself. I love myself. I accept myself. I love myself so much that I know that this is what I deserve. And so there's going to be a little bit of a balancing act that takes place where you might be looking at a past version of your counterpart and you're saying to yourself, that's not who I am anymore. That's not where I am anymore. And so you might see yourself growing and you might see them repeating the same cycles, repeating the same energy. There's two things that are happening here. Number one, it's that they're going through their own clearing, they're going through their own healing, they're going through their own ascension. So hold that space. You don't have to engage if you don't want to. You don't have to engage, especially if it is toxic, especially if it's heavy, if it's dense, especially if it's drawing your energy down. That's why we say, make sure that you're focused on you, your joy, your happiness, your light, your love. And when I say light and love, I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing here. I'm talking about making sure that you're doing your inner healing work, that you're allowing yourself to grow. You're looking at your reflection. You're shifting your beliefs, your mindsets. That's the inner work that we need to do on this journey, that this journey is truly about. So you're going through your own journey and focusing on what is it that you're creating, what is it that you want for your life, what brings you happiness, what brings you joy. And you're not attaching that to your person, because your person is going to be a reflection of you. Your twin flame is the ultimate reflection of you. And so, again, two things happening. They're going through their own ascension, their own healing, their own journey, but also they are reflecting to you your own mindset and your own beliefs. So the more that you shift your mindset and your beliefs, the more they have an opportunity to reflect that to you. So are you kind of stuck in the past? Are you stuck in, this is what they always do, this is how they always interact with me, this is how they always engage? You have a choice. You can continue to engage in those cycles, or you can shift the patterns. You can envision something else. Remember that twin flame is an energy that moves through everything. You are essentially your own twin flame, but that energy is then reflected in another physical vessel, in another person. And so that person has been a catalyst to bring you home to yourself. So if you're feeling any sense of maybe an attraction or repellent energy, allow yourself to look at where that might be happening within yourself, where you're still kind of holding on to an old version of them or an old version of yourself, because as you shift within yourself, your energy is going to shift. And so you're not going to be attracted to the same energy that you were attracted to when your partner came into your life. Now, again, you get to choose the person that you want to be with. Just because it is your twin flame or sacred partner, whatever you want to call it, just because it is your twin flame does not mean that you have to attach. That's where you have to free yourself from what I call the twin flame matrix. That is a consciousness trap. Twin flame is true. Twin flame exists. That sacred love is real. We wouldn't be channeling it for 7 years and haven't experienced it if it wasn't real. It is true. It is real. But don't keep yourself trapped in cycles because you think that that's how you get your twin flame back, or that's how the relationship needs to go. This is a journey of self-growth. This is a journey of self-discovery, and your twin flame is the greatest catalyst for that. You're the greatest catalyst for each other because you exist in that unconditional love. You are that unconditional love, and that's what you're bringing yourselves home to. That's what you're remembering. And so if your counterpart is still going through cycles or going through their ascension, or if they themselves are stuck, which can happen, then it might be for you to allow yourself to, number one, envision and embody new energy. Make sure that your standards are higher. Make sure that you are loving yourself and choosing yourself that much more. Make sure that you're honoring yourself, making sure that you're empowering yourself, making sure that you're not keeping yourself trapped in relationships or connections that aren't healthy for you, even though the label might say, this is your twin, or this is your soulmate, or this is your sacred partner. Your sacred partner is going to grow with you, but it is an energy, and that energy can move through other people. So we talk about this in the soulmate path reading. We talk about this in a couple of other ascension relationship energy updates. We definitely talk about this in my book. So if you are interested in learning more, then we will dive deeper to discuss all of this in the upcoming group call for the Ascension Accelerator Plus Sacred Membership. We have the first call coming up on Wednesday, so make sure that you are joining us to check out topics such as this, where we'll go much, much deeper. I don't mean to say this to trigger anybody, and I know that it will. It will especially trigger you if you are still kind of trapped in the energy of that blueprint of what we think the journey needs to be. You get to write your own journey. You get to write your own story. You get to write the way that you want your life to be. That is part of this empowerment that you are remembering. You are divine. And what does divine mean? Divine means that you are empowered to create your own reality. You are, in essence, the empowered creator, and your counterpart is trying to remind you that, is trying to show you that. So if you aren't feeling attracted, or if you're feeling repellent by their energy, that's actually a really good thing, because it means that you have moved beyond any of those old toxic, unhealthy, unconscious, shadowed behaviors that they might be displaying. When you and your counterpart first met, you were aligned. And that's when you had that activation to ascensions, because the energy was aligned. You had grown to such a point, and they had grown to such a point, that you were able to come together and have that ignition and have that kind of first initial soul merge. And then you, Divine Feminine, have been moving through the process of your ascension, growing and elevating and healing and clearing and going through this whole process. Your counterpart, as the masculine, your energy, you have both masculine and feminine energies within you. And if you're a divine feminine, a core divine feminine, your masculine is your inner masculine pushed out and experienced in another physical vessel. That is the core and crux of twin flames. So they're showing you where you need to heal, where you need to grow, where you need to love yourself, where you need to choose yourself, where you need to find your own stability, your own presence, your own security within your inner masculine, to heal the distortions within your inner masculine, to find that grounding energy, to find that presence. So they're showing you all these things about yourself. They are the reflection of you. Because they are you. Everybody is a reflection of us. Everything and everyone in this universe is a reflection of us. And so if you're elevating yourself, the masculine will then naturally follow. They will go through their own ascension process. But if you are feeling detached or attracted to them, or if you are feeling like you are repelled by their energy, that's just going to show how much you have grown. And if you so desire, you can call in soulmates. You can call in other conscious masculines to be that partner for you, that life partner for you. If you so choose, you get to decide. There are no written rules, but your twin flame will still be your twin flame. Your counterpart will still be your counterpart. They will still be that catalyst for that growth. And many of you will then, as they grow, as you grow, they grow. Many of you will come together with that initial counterpart. But again, that's going to be a conscious choice that you make. And you get to choose. Nobody gets to choose that for you. And if it's triggering you, just look at the trigger, look at where that's triggering you, and allow yourself to tune into your heart and trust what it is that you are feeling about your connection. Now, I want to say this too, that when we're doing these channelings, when we're doing these discussions and readings, it's for a greater collective, and everybody's path looks a little bit different. So it is not meant to trigger you. It's just that everybody's path looks different. And so everybody's choosing different timelines, choosing different paths. And what I'm doing, my job is to kind of bring everything together, bring all these teachings together. But you know what is right for you. Nobody, no guide, no guru, no psychic, no healer, nobody but you can determine for you what is true for your heart, what is true in your soul. What you know intuitively is your path. And this path of ascension is a personal path. It is your personal path home to God. And there might be a bigger blueprint when it comes to these twin flame connections. There might be a collective energy, but you have to allow for the unfolding of your path. You have to trust in your inner guidance. And that's why the emphatic message has been coming forth over the past several months in our readings, to pull back from the readings, pull back from the teachings of, well, not the teachings, but pull back from the energy of what's he going through, what's he doing, how does he feel, how does he think? Because it's not about that. It's not about that. And I get it. I was there. It is about your journey home to yourself. It is about connecting deeper to yourself, and your counterpart is going to be the catalyst for that. And so if you're feeling like you're in a void or detached or repelled by their energy, you don't have to engage in that energy. Keep pulling that energy back to yourself. Don't worry about what they're doing. Don't worry about their actions. Don't worry about their behaviors, as much as your reality can allow for that. Allow yourself to bring that focus back to yourself, and what is it that you want to create? Who is the conscious masculine that you want to tune into? Tune into the energy. You don't have to engage in the physical reality so much. Tune into the energy of your counterpart's higher self, and allow yourself to envision, what does your sacred partner act like? What do they do? How does it feel? How do they connect with you? How do they interact with you? How do you engage with them? Tune into that higher energy and see then how your physical reality shifts. See how your interactions with your counterpart changes, and see how just love comes into your reality, because you are being the love. You are embodying the love, rather than seeking outside of yourself for somebody to give that to you. So there's a lot here. I just wanted to do a quick discussion and a quick just answering of the question. It is totally normal. Again, if you are experiencing that, that is just showing you how much you have evolved, how much you have expanded, how much you have grown and shifted in loving yourself and choosing yourself and honoring yourself and raising your standards for your counterpart to do the same. So that's where you focus your energy. You focus your energy on you. What is it that you are feeling? What is it that you're tuning into within that self-love? And it's not just self-love, it is joy, it is harmony, it is peace. The more you anchor into those higher frequencies within yourself, the more your physical reality then reflects that. You're not seeking outside of yourself for answers, for evidence. You are allowing yourself to create from within that then reflects in your physical reality. And so you're just raising your standards. That's all it is. You might have been attracted because you were in a more of an unconscious state. You might have been attracted to that unconscious energy with each other. But the more conscious you become, the more conscious you grow, you're shifting how you view yourself. You're shifting how you view your world. And thus you're shifting your standards for what it is that you need and you want and you deserve in your world. And so that's actually a really, really positive transformation that you're experiencing. So, again, if you want to go deeper into these teachings, we have a new Ascension Connection Sacred Membership where we do channelings, workshops, support readings, and so much more. Our first group call, which we will do, it's a channeling and chat, so it's a live stream. There will be a recorded replay available if you can't make it. Will be Wednesday, this Wednesday, I can't remember what date it is. Wednesday at 2 o'clock. So make sure that you're checking it out and joining the membership. For September only, there is a discount for the first month of your membership, and you will have access to all the lower level tiers. There's so much, and I'm so excited to be building within this container where we'll be doing these live channeling and chats, these discussions, answering your questions. There's even an opportunity for some personal coaching for your personal situations within that sacred container that we have created within that community environment. So if you are interested, make sure that you're checking out Ascension Connection Sacred Membership. And we also have a new workshop that's coming up that will be available for everybody in the Sacred Membership, or you can register it single-handedly. It is the Bridge of the Heart, where you will be understanding separation, understanding union, redefining union for yourself, and we'll be having a guided meditation where you'll be connecting with your twin flame or sacred partner within that Bridge of the Heart. Okay, so let's get into the reading, and we'll be right back. Everyone, welcome back to the Sacred Union Energy Update. We're going to be looking at the Divine Masculine, the Divine Feminine, and the Union energies. So let's take a look and see what is going on between the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, and the Union. And I'm going to do something a little bit differently. Yes, we're going to be looking at the Ascension energies because everybody is going through their Ascension process, the Divine Masculine, the Divine Feminine. That's what these Union energies are for. That's what this connection is for. But I do want to kind of focus on how are you feeling about each other. And it's going to depend on where you are in your process, where you are in your journey. For some of you, you might be, like we talked about in the beginning of the channeling, in that discussion, you might be feeling like a void. You might be feeling unattached. You might be feeling even repellent with regards to your counterpart. And like I said, that's actually okay. That's a good thing because that's showing you your reflection now. That's showing you how much you have transformed, how much you have grown, and what you require now. You've raised your standards and you've become much more conscious of yourself and much more conscious of what it is that you need with regards to relationship and connection, and not just relationship and connection with your counterpart, but relationship and connection with everything around you. We're in connection with everything. Everything is interconnected. So it's not just our relationship with our counterpart, but it's our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with God's source, our relationship with money, our family, our friends. All of that elevates, all of that expands as we go through our transformation. So you might be there. Others of you might be feeling this kind of reunion energy where you are very connected to your counterpart without the attachment, without the expectation, just in the energy of unconditional love. I'm going to share a quick story. I shared this on the blog and it's shared in my newsletter. This past weekend, I was painting a bookshelf. I was outside. It was a beautiful, beautiful weather. I didn't have any music on, no podcast or anything. It was just me, the sunshine, the birds, and the trees, and it was just beautiful. and I was painting this bookshelf, and I was getting really frustrated with myself because the paint wasn't going on as smoothly as I would like. And all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, I see my counterpart crossing the grass towards me, and he sits down beside me and he starts talking to me, and he says, "Remember what I taught you." He is somebody who works very well with his hands, and that's something I always appreciated because I don't. And he taught me some techniques when it came to painting. And so I started to paint and do different brush strokes and everything, and it was becoming much more easy. And we were having this conversation then and connecting much more deeply, much more intimately, much more openly and lovingly than we had in the past, than we have in the past 2 years since our physical separation. Over the past 2 years, there has been a great healing that has taken place. And when we entered physical separation for the first time in our 7 year journey, I realized that there was a greater picture that was playing out. That was why I was, in essence, basically okay with the separation, is because I could feel that there was something that was playing out. I could see the bigger picture for why the separation was important. Separation teaches us that there is no separation. And sometimes we have to go into physical separation in order to tune in to the energy. Sometimes also it's separation for the individual healing to take place. Or if you were in a situation like mine was, where you were physically together, we were living together. If you're physically together, if the energy becomes too much, sometimes physical separation will take place for your individual ascension, for some healing, because otherwise what you're doing is, as mirrors to each other, you're just perpetuating the cycles and you're ping-ponging off of each other that reflection, and sometimes an actual physical separation is required in order to break that cycle and to heal. And so for myself, in my own situation, there was a lot of healing that was happening, and there was a lot of individual ascension that was happening. And through that individual ascension, understanding that there is no separation, really anchoring it in. We can know something intellectually. We've known this intellectually since our activation, since becoming aware of this journey and the twin flame journey, so to speak. But to embody it, to anchor it in, to integrate it, to feel always connected, to feel that sense of unconditional love, despite all the human nonsense that happens, despite what's happening on the external, to really anchor that in, that's something else. That's the higher heart ascension. And over the past couple of months, the past year or so, I myself have been anchoring in that higher heart ascension, which is why we've been channeling it so much, is because we're moving into that next phase where there is no separation. And so your reactions are different, your responses are different, your energy is different, your frequency is different, and that creates a different reality. And so you might see this with regards to your life in many different ways, and with regards to finances, with regards to business, with regards to your career, your work, your family, your friends, coworkers, whoever. In many different ways you'll be experiencing this, and it will also be experienced with your connection, but it might be experienced with your connection after everything else, because your connection is, I don't want to use the word fragile because that's not quite the right word, although it is a pure connection. And so fragile almost seems like an appropriate word because you don't want anything to, to damage that connection, right? It's not fragile in that it is weak. In fact, it is the strongest connection that you have, because it's the connection that you have with yourself. The connection you have with your counterpart directly reflects the connection you have with yourself, because as a twin flame, they are you. However, it is fragile in that it is pure, and so you don't want that to become damaged, so to speak, by perpetuating cycles or by repeating patterns, etc., etc., etc. And that sometimes is what happens when the energy between the two of you is so strong, when the ego is so strong. That can be what happens. So there might be a semblance of separation that happens, but it's also to show you that the external does not dictate. You've heard me say recently that just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you're in union. And just because, or if you're married, it doesn't mean that you're in union. Or just because you're in separation, it doesn't mean you're not in union. The external does not dictate union or not union. It's everything that is felt within. That's why I have such a hard time with the twin flame community, because there's a lot of false There's a lot of ego, number one, and there's a lot of false teachings of we're in a relationship or we're married, so we're in union. It is not. A union is an energy first and foremost. And yes, there are some who will be married and who will be in relationship with their counterpart and they will be in union, but it comes energetically first. So just be aware that union is not whether or not you're in a relationship. That relationship is an expression of your union that is felt internally first. So if you're still looking at the external as the evidence or the data for where you are on your journey, then you're missing a really important piece of the puzzle. You have to tune within. You have to keep looking within, not at the external. The external doesn't matter. The external is just a reflection of the energy that you're holding within you. And the external is like, it's something that is past. It's a past manifestation. It's a past energy that's just being reflected now. There's like a time lag on the external, right? So that's where your reality is within you. Your energy, your union, your connection is within you. And that's what we'll be showing you and teaching you on in the workshop, The Bridge of the Heart, in the guided meditation. We'll talk more about separation. We'll talk more about union. We'll talk about more about redefining these terms and what it really is. This is a sacred journey, and it has become very hijacked, very corrupted, and very manipulated. And I don't like that. And so I feel like I've really been kind of reclaiming that twin flame template. You guys used to hear me say that I don't like the word twin flame. It's because it was so manipulated and so misconstrued and so kind of corrupted. It's a very sacred connection, and we're returning to that sacredness. And I really want you guys to understand why it's so important to empower yourself and to tune into your own inner knowing, to tune into the energy. The energy is what is real. How do I even say this? The energy is basically, essentially, all there is, and then your physical reality will reflect that. So, and that's even reflected, like I've seen that reflected. I've been seeing and feeling that union energy for the past year or so. It really began to anchor in when I went to Europe, and then over the past several months of this past year. And I've really seen that with regards to my connection. You know, even though it looks like very little movement from my counterpart in the physical, I've been in contact with people who are in connection with him, reaching out to me. Like there's communication with people, like even though like I was kind of hands off, you know, like letting my journey unfold, not forcing anything, not manipulating anything. People have been reaching out to me that are directly connected to him. And there's movement, there's communication, there is a lot of energy that is moving. Don't focus on the physical and the lack and the is he or isn't he as far as the be all end all. That's where we get lost. That's where we get off our path. That's where we misconstrue the journey. It is all within us. And so for myself, I really anchored into this and really embodied this that day when I was painting that bookshelf, because it really made me realize, my goodness, like everything I've channeled, everything that I've felt, even though I went through periods of doubt and went through periods of kind of like wanting to push him away, it is real inside my heart, and thus it is real. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. What is true for you, what is real for you, if you feel it in your soul, the very core and crux of your soul, if you are very connected to yourself, if you're very grounded within yourself, and you feel it in the core and crux of your soul as your truth, then trust in that, believe in that. That is what we teach here. We teach trusting in yourself, trusting in your path. Your path is your own. It is your personal path. Even though we might have a collective, even though there might be an overall blueprint, it is your path. It is your truth. The Unity Code is coming out next month, October 10th. Make sure that you're checking it out, because I go deep into these teachings in the book. Everything, all of these teachings are there in the book. Okay, so Why did I go off on that tangent? Oh, because it's really showing us that there is no union, or there is no separation, and it doesn't matter what the 3D is showing you. The 3D is not evidence, the 3D is past evidence. And if you keep focusing on the 3D as far as whether or not your counterpart is showing up or is going to show up, then you're still repeating past patterns. What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to be different? You shift your relationship, you shift your connection by shifting yourself, period. So it doesn't matter where you are in the journey. Where you are is perfect for you. Whatever it is that you're experiencing is perfect for you. If you're experiencing that union energy of unconditional love and peace and harmony, like I was sharing that I was feeling, after years of, feeling that resentment and feeling that anger and feeling that pain because of the past doesn't matter anymore. Like, it almost feels like the past never even existed. It doesn't feel like it's been 2 years since I've seen my counterpart. It feels like it was yesterday. That's union. There is no separation. The past isn't the past. It doesn't matter. It only matters is what's present and what you're creating from this present moment. Don't keep repeating past patterns. Don't keep repeating past habits. You get to create from this empowered place right here, right now. You get to choose. You get to decide. So it just depends on where you are in the process of becoming, in the process of shifting your consciousness. Don't force anything. Allow it to unfold. You're exactly where you need to be, whatever it is that you're feeling. If you are feeling that detachment, that void, that repellent energy, that's okay. That's where you're meant to be. Allow yourself to work through that. Allow yourself to feel that. There might be some healing that is coming from that. There might be some raising of standards that it's coming from that. There might be some ways that you're viewing yourself differently that's coming from that. Don't rush anything. Don't force anything. You're exactly where you're meant to be on the journey. I share my journey and where I am because that might help to guide you with where you are headed, where you are going, so that you realize that you're not stuck in this place. Okay? So there's always an evolving. There's always an expansion. There's always an unfolding. Okay? All right, that said, let's see what we need to hear and see for the Divine Masculine. What's going on for the Divine Masculine? I got called to use the Keepers of the Light deck. I'm not quite sure why. I didn't feel any other deck today, so we're just gonna go with this. Kali Ma, Facing Fear. Yeah, Kali Ma has been a great guide for me along my own personal journey. And I'm hearing the word transcendent. Kali Ma helps us to transcend the past versions of ourselves. Kali Ma is an energy, very fierce, compassionate warrior. She's the Divine Mother. She's an energy of creation and destruction. I have a channeling in my Ascension Connections portal called the Cycle of Creation. I'll put a link in the description box. If it feels like things are falling apart, if it feels like there are tower moments, we have to allow for that, because from the destruction comes the creation, and that's exactly what has happened for the Divine Masculine. We've been channeling this. They're reminding me of the Tower Creates Transcendence, or Leads to Transcendence channeling back in March. So that's part of the rebirth. And remember, the masculine experiences their ascension very physically. So there might be actual physical circumstances or experiences that are catalysts for their ascension. Divine Feminine, you experience it energetically. Divine Masculine experiences it physically. So there might be a change in finances. There might be a change in relationships. There might be a change in location, whatever this is. There might be divorce. There might be passings in the family. There might be what else? A loss of income or something like that. But it's all for a purpose, to catalyze and activate the Divine Masculine to a greater depth of self, a greater consciousness of self, an embodiment of the self, in order to create this new level of awakening, this new level of ascension. And it doesn't matter how spiritually awakened you are before. Ascension, as we say, is a whole new ballgame. And that's what this energy feels like. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. So this has been part of the rebirth. And I feel like Kali Ma is serving as that divine feminine guide, truly. As the Divine Mother, she is a divine feminine guide. And what is she? She really is a divine feminine, because the divine feminine isn't just love and light. The divine feminine is very soft, very compassionate, very peaceful, very loving, but she is also the wild feminine. She is also do not F with me. That's Kali Ma's energy. The divine feminine is somebody who is so sure of herself, so connected to herself and the divine, that she says anything that is not meant for me, anything that is not good for me, anything that I don't feel in my very soul, that can leave. Do not F with me. That's the divine feminine energy. It is very wild. It is very fiery. It is very assertive. That's all divine feminine energy, and that is Kali. Kali is the ultimate do not F with me kind of gal. She is, like I said, she is the compassionate warrior. She has a lot of compassion, but her whole mythology, so to speak, is she's the one that fights the demons. She is the one that will cut the heads off of the demons. That's why she shows up with all these like skulls around her in her depictions, because she will destroy. She is the great destroyer, but she doesn't destroy for destruction's sake. She destroys in order to create something new and to create something better. And she, as we have channeled, she is the one that is actually helping to lead this ascension on the planet. She's helping to lead the global ascension. She is the ultimate do not F with me, but she also carries that nurturance. She is so loving and so compassionate. She is something to be feared, but also not. When I say something to be feared, it is her strength, it is her warrior energy, but she's not to be feared because she is so compassionate and so loving as well. And she will scold, is what I'm hearing. She's the mother, so she will scold. So I feel like she is stepping forth for the divine masculine to continue to kind of cut out anything that is no longer serving. These divine masculines have been going through a huge, they just called me to the bottom of the deck, heart awakening. We've been channeling that for the past several weeks, right? Heart awakening, heart expansions, seeing themselves in a new way, in a new light. That's what's happening for the divine masculine. They're seeing themselves in a new light. Divine feminine, this is your inner masculine. As you see your inner masculine in a new light, as you see your masculine energy in a new light, you're going to start seeing your person in a new light. Because they are you. They are your greatest mirror. They are your greatest reflection. And it's up to you to shift your perspective. What is it that you want to create? How is it that you want to experience them? How are you experiencing your inner masculine? Are you present? Are you grounded? Are you stable? Are you feeling secure within yourself? Are you seeking internally, or are you still seeking externally for that safety, for that security, for that presence? So how you treat your inner masculine is reflected in your counterpart as well. So speaking of the masculine though, speaking of like physical counterparts, etc., take it, as I always say, in your inner masculine as well. But for these masculine counterparts, they are seeing themselves in a new light, seeing themselves in a new understanding, and anything that is of the old energy that is not going to serve them as the conscious divine masculine, Kali Ma is helping them to cut it away. Old beliefs, old mindsets, old perspectives, all of that is being cleared away. And part of that is facing their fears. Part of that is having tower moments come in to shake them up in order to face their fears. And what are their fears? Their fears are themselves. Their greatest fears are, I'm not worthy, I am lacking, I am not lovable, I am abandoned. Their greatest fears are lack, scarcity, unworthiness, shame. Those are their greatest fears. So they're facing those right now. And Kali Ma is coming through as a compassionate warrior and saying, you are divine masculine, a warrior yourself. And so we are helping you overcome these fears and shift this identity you have of yourself. Shift these beliefs and these mindsets that you have of yourself in order to rise in consciousness and to rise into new understanding of yourself. Beautiful, beautiful support coming in for divine masculine with Kali Ma. What's going on for the divine feminine? What's going on for the divine feminine? We have Horus, the cosmic gateway. Your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. This is exactly what we're talking about, divine feminine. It's within you. How do you want your divine masculine to perceive you? Are you still repeating old patterns, or are you creating something new? How are you perceiving yourself? Again, your masculine is your greatest mirror. If you look back at your journey, you called each other in the states of unconsciousness in order to activate to new levels of consciousness. That's what your ascension journey was. You were unconscious, as spiritually awakened as you might have been. You were also at some level unconscious. And so when you met your divine counterpart, you were activated to new levels of spirituality, new levels of connection with yourself, new levels of soul, new levels of consciousness. And that's what the healing journey was all about. The triggers were there to show you where the holes were, where the beliefs needed to shift, where the mindsets needed to change, where you needed to grow, where you needed to expand, where you might have been holding yourself back. So as you're elevated in consciousness, you're creating a new version of yourself. So how are you seeing yourself now? And are you going to be seeing your counterpart in the same old energy, or are you going to be seeing them in a new energy? Let me bring it back to my own personal experience, because this is what they're drawing me to. So over the past 2 years, because there had been such difficulties and challenges within my connection with my counterpart, going through that cycle together, living together, we just kept replaying and replaying and replaying and seeing each other in those old versions of ourselves. No matter how much we were growing, we were seeing each other in those old versions of each other, because we didn't have a chance apart, so to speak. We didn't have a chance to break that cycle. The separation, the physical separation, was a chance to break that cycle. And so through this journey, the past 2 years, there has been so much growth. But what I realized is that I needed to also believe in him and see him as growing too, which I always had been. But as cycles were repeating, it got harder and harder because I was so focused on the physical. Oh, he's doing this. Oh, he's not doing this. It became harder and harder and harder. And so what really shifted for me was allowing myself not to engage with the physical, not to focus on what's happening in my external reality, but to focus on in my inner reality, to focus on my connection with his higher self. And that is what became real. That's what became manifest. The connection with the higher self. That's the cosmic gateway. The cosmic gateway is within you. You connect on the bridge of the heart. And the more you connect on that bridge of the heart, the more that is created and reflected in your physical reality. And you can do this not just with your counterpart. If it's too hard with your counterpart, play and practice this with other things in your life. Play and practice this with your coworkers. You don't have you're not as attached to your coworkers as you might be with your counterpart. So play and practice this with your coworkers, for example. Start seeing them in a new light, shifting your perspective around them, shifting your beliefs around them. It's because you're shifting your beliefs within you. You're shifting the perspective within you. That's going to be reflected around you. So that's the cosmic gateway. That's how powerful you and your imagination are. You get to step into new timelines. You get to step into new realities based on the inner energy that you are holding, the beliefs, the mindsets, the perspectives that you yourself are holding. So, Divine Feminine, I feel like you are, depending on where you are in the journey, I feel like you are having a huge consciousness shift or on the precipice of a huge consciousness shift, where you're having breakthroughs when it comes to your connection, when it comes to your transformation, when it comes to yourself. And this could be just about yourself. This could be that you're seeing yourself in a new light. You're seeing yourself in a transformed way. Hold that energy, hold that light, because that is what's actually going to continue to manifest. That's what's going to play a part in manifesting, again, different way you interact with other people, the different way that people interact with you. It could be your relationship with money. It could be your relationship with your work. It could be your relationship with your counterpart. It's all dependent on you within yourself. I'm getting called to read the book. And you guys know I don't often do that unless I'm called to. But there's something about Horus that I'm getting called to. There's this rebirth energy that's coming through, but I want to read the book. So, Horus. Horus is the Egyptian eagle-headed god and sun twin flame of the goddess Isis. He is known for his foresight, psychic awareness, and ability to travel between the worlds. He can help us move into the cosmos with our mind, meditations, and prayers so that we can harness the natural magic that surrounds us. He was known for ritual magic in the past, and now he helps create pockets of energy in the world where we can access light, wisdom, and insight. You are connecting to the universe and have the ability to manifest miraculous experiences. Your thoughts, words, and actions are like magnets, drawing the energy that creates and cultivates your world. You have a stellar gateway chakra above your head, a vortex of energy that is influenced by your own energy. Basically, what they're saying is what we were saying, just a different way. So it might land in a different way for you. Basically, you influence your reality by your energy. Your energy, your thoughts, your beliefs, your mindsets, your perspectives is what influences your world. And so that's why we're always saying, especially emphatically now, focus on yourself. Focus on your inner world. Focus on your joy, your peace, your happiness. Focus on your, whatever it is, your passions that bring you that happiness, that bring you that contentment, that bring you that fulfillment. Rather than looking externally, bring it within yourself, because that wholeness is what creates a reflection of wholeness within your world, where you're not lacking for anything. You're not seeking outside of yourself for anything. This is the cosmic gateway that you're walking through now. Okay? All right, and let's see if there's anything we need to know for the union energies. We have Cernunnos, life force. Express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. Yeah, express your driving passion. Keep focused on what you're creating. Don't look at yourself, or don't look at your connection like you're lacking. Don't look at your life and be like, well, my counterpart's not here, so I'm not in union, or so I don't have healthy relationships, or so I'm missing romance. All of that is an energy. Everything is energy. It's just how you express that energy. Even romance. How are you romancing yourself? Romance is an energy. It's just how you're expressing love. Love. That's all it is. That's all romance is. It's love. So allow yourself to romance yourself. Buy yourself flowers. Light candles in a bath. Nurture yourself, comfort yourself, create that sexual energy within yourself. It's all within you. It is all within you. And then it will express itself in your physical reality in a number of different ways. It could show up in a partner, it could show up in a soulmate, it could show up in your connection. It'll express itself in a number of different ways, but you're cultivating that within yourself. You're not seeking outside of yourself for that. Same thing with passion. Same thing when I say passion, I mean like your hobbies, your goals, your whatever it is. Do things that light you up. It's all an expression of you. Everything is an expression of you. That is what your connection is trying to show you, that there's nothing outside of yourself. Union is that there is nothing outside of yourself. It is all within you. There is no separation. Okay? We're going to dive deeper into that in the workshop coming up next Sunday. So make sure that you're registered for that, or you can access it as part of the Sacred membership. All right. What's going on for the Divine Masculine? What's going on for the Divine Masculine right now? What's going on for the Divine Masculine? There's a little bit of an internal energy that feels like it's happening right now. It feels almost like a hermit. The Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, I'm hearing like inching my way, almost like inching my way out of the cave, inching my way into the light, inching my way along this journey. It's like small and steady, small and steady. But there is movement, is what they're assuring us. There is movement, there is growth, there is expansion. But and so when I say inching my way, I know it can feel frustrating, like, oh my gosh, it's going so slow. It doesn't feel like a turtle. It doesn't feel like that kind of energy. It just feels like taking next steps, taking the next step. That's what it feels like. I feel like there's been a huge internal process that has been going on. I feel like they've been in this hermit energy, but I feel like they're wanting to put down really stable roots. We use this analogy. Years ago, we channeled that the tower had to crumble because it was built on a false foundation, right? And so the tower had to come down because that foundation was faulty, and it wouldn't withstand the pressure, it wouldn't withstand the challenges, the obstacles, it wouldn't withstand the storms. And that's why the tower crumbles, because it's a faulty foundation, and that's essentially what has happened within connection, right? That's what happens sometimes if there is no foundation within connection. So what happens, through your journey is you learn to have a much more stable foundation within yourself. If we're talking about like attachment theory, it would be like a secure attachment, where in the past the faulty foundation might be an insecure attachment, like anxious attachment or avoidant attachment, right? But you can heal that, you can shift that and become much more secure. That's the sturdy foundation, that's the stable foundation. So they're learning and healing and growing and building a much more firm foundation for themselves, something that is stable. And if we're talking about consciousness, this is a certainty and a security within the self. Where they had once felt worthless or unworthy, where they once felt a lot of shame, where they once felt a lot of insecurity, now, because of this growth within themselves, this expansion, this new version of themselves, is going to be one that's built on consciousness, is going to be one that's built on presence, is going to be one that is built on confidence. It's a much more stable foundation, which is the conscious masculine. It is the old foundation might have been like the distortions, the unconscious self, the shadow self. This is a much more stable foundation. And so they're building it brick by brick now. They're building it inch by inch, brick by brick. They're taking those steps because they want their life now to be built on that firm foundation. Knowing who we are. Knowing who we are is what I just keep hearing. Knowing who we are. I want to know who I am. I want to be firm in who I am, certain of who I am, so that I can bring that to you now. I can bring that presence. I can bring that stability to you, Divine Feminine. So that we talked about this earlier, a couple of months ago, where your expansion, your container expands. Your ability to hold yourself, your ability to hold space for others expands as you go along your journey. We did this metaphor. It's like this. It's like this is one container. It's going to be hot. It's like this. This is the masculine's container, right? You went through this yourself, Divine Feminine. So this is one container where it might be small. And so this is like your nervous system as well. Like you're not able to handle challenges or obstacles because your nervous system is kind of shut. So you're not able or capable of holding that energy. Well, Divine Feminines, Divine Masculines were not able or capable of holding your energy, especially as you grew, as you expanded. You went through this too, Divine Feminines, where you had to grow and you had to expand within your own container. That was your inner masculine container, right? When you first perhaps met your counterpart, you were both in this kind of small container, but then you began to grow, then you began to expand, and so that container had to expand. So the Divine Masculine had to go through that expansion too. Well, now the container is bigger. So they're able to hold themselves. They're able to hold you. That's what happens with the shift into the Divine Masculine energy. So I hope that makes sense. We talk about that in another reading. I can't remember which one it is. If you guys remember or come across it, please put a link in the description box or in the comments for people to refer to it. I just can't remember. But that's what happens is that the container expands. So you're able to hold more. They're able to hold your energy. They're able to hold your light. They weren't able to do that in the past because that container for themselves was so small based on unworthiness and insecurity and shame and whatever it was. So that's what they're expanding. That's what they're doing step by step, is they're building their container. They're building that foundation. They're building that new version of themselves. How are they feeling about the Divine Feminine? How are they feeling about the Divine Feminine right now? I saw him at the bottom of the deck, the King of Wands and the Sun. Yeah, the King of Wands is giving me this energy of a motivating factor, and I think that came in the last reading. They're very motivated. They're very motivated by you. You're like a guiding light for them. Like you're their sunshine for them. Like they're very motivated to keep growing, to keep healing, to keep taking action for themselves. And the more that you shift within yourself, Divine Feminine, the more you're going to expand, the more they're going to expand too. It's that quantum entanglement. What shifts in one shifts in the other. So I feel like this energy of the King of Wands is very motivated to take action, very motivated to ascend. That was the last Sacred Union energy update. Motivated to ascend was the phrase that I kept getting. So with the Sun here, it's like they can finally see through the clouds. There's been a break in the stormy weather. There's been a break in the clouds. because they're shifting how they view themselves. So where they had felt very desolate, where they felt very stuck, where they felt very guarded, they're showing me the Four of Pentacles, where they felt very like everything was storm clouds and even like this depression kind of energy. There's a break in those clouds. There's a new perspective that's shining through. There's a new hope that's coming through here, and they're feeling very motivated to continue doing that work because there's hope that's coming through. For some, this is going to resonate for some. For some, there might have been communication where something that was said, something that you said, something that was a message that was passed along, or something that they've seen, gave them hope. And it's hope for healing, hope for growth, that is motivating them. Now remember, you do not have to manipulate anything or force anything. The divine, if you are in a state where you're like, I have to say this so that the masculine gets it, that's manipulation, that's force. You're not allowing it to unfold. There's still a dependence on the external. There's still a mistrust of the divine masculine. You have to trust the masculine to receive what it is that they need to receive for their healing and for their growth. Divine feminine, the only thing that you need to do is be you. Be authentic to yourself. You might not ever know what it is that you say or do that the divine masculine then receives, and it encourages them to grow, or it catalyzes their growth, or it influences them, or motivates them, or inspires them. But you don't have to. Just trust the journey. Trust each other, okay? You don't have to force anything. You don't have to, say anything specific. You just have to be who you are. That's the journey. You have to be who you are. That's what inspires your authenticity. All right, let's see what's going on for the divine feminine. Let's get a card for the divine feminine, please. What's going on for the divine feminine? The Eight of Cups. Yeah. So what I like about the Eight of Cups, the Eight of Cups we usually think about as something walking away. This is that cosmic gateway, though. It's not just a walking away from a past version of yourself, past belief, past life, whatever it is. When I say past life, I mean past version of your life. It is also walking towards, and what comes after the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Cups, fulfillment, satisfaction. And it's the Nine of Cups is personal fulfillment, personal satisfaction, personal happiness, right? The Nine of Cups is still very individual. It's like the Nine of Pentacles, like you're fulfilled, you've got this, you can do it on your own, but you don't have to. That's the thing. But you're not seeking outside of yourself for something to fulfill you. You recognize the wholeness within yourself. That's the Nine of Cups kind of energy. And then what comes after that, the Ten of Cups, inviting somebody into your world who is going to not take away from your wholeness, but is going to add to it, who is going to amplify it. That's what these sacred partners are. There's no codependency. You're interdependent individuals that come together. I'll talk about that in a minute. You're interdependent individuals that come together in each other's wholeness, and you create a relationship, that third energy, you create that relationship and you nurture that together. You build on that together. The thing that they were bringing forth was, it's also the energy. It's also the energy of you are whole within your feminine energy, because you also have the masculine energy within you. And that's where your inner union is. It's not looking to somebody to complete you as a masculine. You have the masculine energy within you, divine feminine. So your union is recognizing the wholeness within your inner feminine and your inner masculine. You're not looking outside of yourself and saying, well, he's my masculine, so I need him here to complete me. No, he's just your energy reflected in another person. That's what twin flames are. He is your energy reflected in another person. He is your masculine within. So it's still wholeness within you. Union is within you. And the same goes for your masculine. It's not them looking for a feminine outside of themselves. It's their inner feminine and their inner masculine in union. And then you come together and you create that union. You come together in that connection, in that union energy, as whatever that relationship or whatever that expression will look like in your physical world. But it's because you are already whole within yourself, and then that union energy is amplified as you come together. Okay, so the Eight of Cups, it's this gateway of you're moving away from old versions, old beliefs, old levels of consciousness, creating breakthroughs in order to move into all those higher energies. And the Nine and Ten of Cups are like the best possible cards that you can have, because it is happiness, it is coming together, it is dreams, wishes fulfilled, wishes coming true. They're two of the best cards in the minor arcana, because it is all that water energy too. It's emotional fulfillment, emotional happiness. So it's this, you're it doesn't even feel like you're in a in between energy. You're just moving through these different transformations, these different shifts, these different breakthroughs, as you are clearing up who you were and moving into who you truly are authentically, who you truly are as a soul. You're really anchoring in who you truly are, releasing any of the ego, any of the who you thought you needed to be, what you thought you needed for this journey, and just remembering who you truly are. And how is the Divine Feminine feeling about the masculine? How is the Divine Feminine feeling about the masculine? The Knight of Cups, yeah. You're not looking to your masculine to fulfill you, to give you this offering. You're recognizing this offering within yourself. And when I say within yourself, it's not like this energy of, I don't need somebody, I want to paint a bookshelf, I don't need somebody, I can do it myself. It's not that kind of energy. It's, I've got this. Do you see the difference in my tone of voice? It's not resistance, like it's not like trying to prove anything to yourself. It's just, no, I've got this. I've got this. And when I was struggling with the bookcase, when I was struggling with the painting, my masculine came in energetically and reminded me, hey, you've got this. You've got this. Remember everything I taught you. It's within you. And I just had to tune into the energy, and it became seamless, effortless. You're giving it to yourself. You're not seeking externally. You're not lacking anything. You're not lacking anything. And the minute that you remember that you're not lacking anything, that's when everything becomes effortless. That's when everything manifests. So that's what this feels like. And remember, from the in, so without. As within, so without. So it's not to say that it's never going to manifest in your physical reality. If you want a relationship, if you want a connection, that can be part of your physical reality. You are human. You're meant to be having human experiences. Just don't block yourself. Just don't cut yourself off. Just don't limit the potential. That's what we're trying to say here with don't block yourself off. Nobody does that but you. The Eight of Swords is creating your own prison, your own mental prison, creating this own entrapment. Don't block yourself off. Don't limit yourself. That's where we're saying in the beginning of the channeling, in the very beginning of our reading. It's this energy of, whatever it is that you're feeling about your counterpart, it's okay. But don't limit yourself. You get to choose. You get to decide. What is it you want to experience? What is it that you want to feel? You get to decide by your own energy and your own perspective. You're not reliant on somebody to decide that for you, especially your counterpart. You are the empowered creator. Remember yourself as the empowered creator. Yeah, you're more powerful than you think with the High Priestess. You're more powerful than you remember. You're more powerful than you know. That doesn't take away from anybody else's power. You just become empowered within yourself, for yourself, your journey. All right. Anything we need to know for the masculine? Ooh, commitment. Yeah. I feel like there's a shift for the masculine, that they are motivated. They're motivated, and they're motivated because of the shift within you. And they're getting pointed to the 5 number, this change, motivated to change, committed to the change. Maybe even committed to you, depending on your journey, where you are. For some of you, it might actually be a commitment to you. It actually, for many of you, it's going to be a commitment to you because you're committing to yourself. You're committing to your journey. So that might be playing out as well. It's like a commitment. I'm committed to this growth. I'm committed to the expansion. I'm committed to the transformation. I'm committed to myself. Like, it's going to be in a number of different ways, but it's going to be reflected in your counterpart committing as well. So where are you wavering within yourself? Where are you shifting within yourself? Allow yourself to anchor that in. And Divine Feminine, anything else we need to know for you, Divine Feminine? Patience, everybody's favorite card. It's not patience like waiting. I know we hate this word. It's not patience like waiting. It's allowing it to unfold. Whatever process you're in, whatever transformation you're going through, allowing it to unfold. It's not patience like, oh, I have to wait linear timeline, I have to wait X, Y, Z years. No, not at all. Like, transformation can happen in an instant. This is what you have to drop. You have to drop that guard. You have to drop thinking that that there's one way that this can play out. No, there's an infinite number of ways to play out. You have to get your ego mind out of it and tune further back into the soul. Meet me on the bridge of the heart. All right. That being said, make sure that you are registering for the workshop next Sunday, September 15th. There will be a replay and a replay package available afterwards for those who can attend. As well as if you would like to be part of the Sacred Membership, which gets you a whole host of other stuff. The workshop will be part of every level in the membership as well. So make sure that you're checking out the Sacred Membership. Make sure you're checking out all of our offerings. Make sure that if you're part of the Ascension Accelerator Plus, then you are joining us for the group call where we'll discuss, do some channeling, discuss some more energy, answer your questions and stuff like that. All right, I'm sending you all so much love, so much light, and we'll see you next time. Oh, and I have a very special surprise coming up this week, so make sure that you are tuned in to the YouTube channel. Can't wait to show you guys what we've got in store. Sending lots of love. Bye.